Second talk about the question of yesterday. I thought this morning that it was clear but not that clear, meaning that I told you I don't believe that work all the time in relaxation would be useful for a voice. And I told you that, okay, then we have to see how to work, not always in relaxation, but without straining. I thought this morning that one of the first intuition I had when I was working, when I started teaching, was that we all the time had to work in between some opposite forces. The first intuition, and it seems a happy intuition, was that we didn't have just to breathe out. We had also to put something in opposition to that. And the opposition to that is the breathing in. So that the pressure under the vocal folds will not result by a pushing out the air, but it will be the two forces that I always talked about. And if you have seen some other of my talks, you will see on the sustain that I was talking about that in its relations with appoggio and pronunciation. So the fact is that all the things I have structured as exercises are strategies to be sure that we never work without some sort of opposition into the forces. And that is a very basic point to me. Basic meaning absolutely fundamental, because when you work just in a relaxation, as if you work just with the strength, as if you work just with one thing that we do sometimes, but just sometimes, we are not sure that there will be something that will contain this gesture. So all the strategy I have done, and probably part of my results are related to that, is that I structured all the vocalizations and all the exercises and all the physical exercises to have the possibility to have enough opposition to some gesture so that we work in a basically elastic tone into the system. So for example, when I asked you to do I made a tutorial on how to find some sustain if you can't find it, some exercises, some things to do together. You will see that I did something that I call the rider. I put in a position my knees to the internal of my thighs, and I put a strength into the knees to get inwards, and then I imagine that my thighs from here, from the internal, not from behind, absolutely from the internal, we are probably working with the sartorius muscle, okay? It will get opening while the knees stay there. And I told you, you start down, you put your position, and then you come back high in here. And you do the vocalization while doing that. This will make the muscles, the iliopsoas, working in a certain way so that during the vocalization it will be impossible for the iliopsoas to be totally stiff. And totally stiff meaning that we can really use the support and the sustainer to find something, because the iliopsoas will create the conditions not to do too much with the other force. I will show you, I will put today other two or three, depends on how I have other things to do. So I will try to do 2, 3 of my exercises. And the thing is that always think about that. We produce a work. To produce a work, we must use some strength. This strength can be controlled in its not only effectiveness, but also in its damaging possibility by the opposition, not of the opposite muscle, but the opposite function. And here I'm telling something that is really, really the center of cossumethod. Develop it. If you have better idea than me, develop it, because what it counts is not that I label this. It is important that we go out from the not knowledge and the ideas too sharp to be more complex, because as I always say, happiness is knowledge shared. Have a good Saturday.